But I don't see the record. There we go.
Recording
Okay.
is started, yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. Well, welcome everybody to the launch of this new event, a women's event that we're calling From Her Perspective. And I think, it's so amazing that we had almost 136, I believe, people that RSVP'd, and I think the number is climbing. So hopefully, people can join in due time. And the interesting thing is, out of those 136, I'm just looking up the statistics that Simmer sent me. I think 38 were men, and the rest were women. So it's phenomenal, like how much traction and interest was shown by our women here. So having said that, I think if I may ask all of you to sort of unmute yourself and probably give yourself and for each other a round of applause for showing up and just supporting this event. So just unmute yourself and probably just give yourself, everybody, a little round of applause, okay? So we can get started. So again, great to see you. Great to see a lot of familiar faces. And usually the way we start these events is we have everybody introduce themselves, but in the interest of time today, we're probably gonna, you can introduce yourselves by just putting your name and faculty probably in the chat if you like. And that way we can see who's at the event, who wants to introduce themselves. So feel free to do that. So I just want to take a couple of minutes just to tell you about, what how this event came about. So, a few of us have been talking about, we started this series of CEPTA events last year. And, just out of talking, we thought, there has to be a platform where we provide women of CEPTA a platform, a unique opportunity so they can come forward and share their stories, right? So that was really the driver here. And I'm so grateful that a lot of these fantastic women that have come forward that will be sharing their stories today. We want to create a safe environment for them to be able to speak and share freely. So, and that's really the goal here. And so they can really share what they've gone through, what they're, how they're pressing on with their lives and then their careers, raising families, and all sorts of things. So I think that's really a little bit about what this event was, the series. And Neha, who's going to be actually facilitating this session with me, she's going to go over the whole concept of this from her perspective in more detail, and we'll hear from the different presenters that we have. Their stories we will hear their stories later, and then from that point onwards, we'll go into a discussion with folks. So we invite you at that point. And we also have, some of you might see, I'm going to actually stand so you can see the T-shirt that I'm wearing. So this is the logo that our own Heman Modi designed, and Heman will talk about this once we go through the stories and just the inspiration behind it. I think I know where the inspiration came from, Heman, but I'll let you share the story. But anyways, I was trying to crack a joke, but so
that's not a joke.
So we'll go through. So we'll have Heman share that, and in between the events, we also have some structured poll questions that we would like to gather some feedback from all of you. So we'll put some poll questions forward. We would love for you to take the poll and tell us what you think. So I think that would really help us moving forward. So having said that, I would like to get us started, and by sharing my screen, do some quick patience. So just to get started, this is our website. For those of you that haven't gotten a chance to go to CEPTA website, it's called CEPTalumniamericas.org, right here. This is our homepage. This is the website right here, CEPTalumni.org. The ways you can we have different groups where you can actually connect with everybody. We have a LinkedIn CEPTA page where you can get connected with folks. We've got a CEPTA Facebook page you can get connected. We have a CEPTA WhatsApp group. So all of those can be accessed by going to the CEPTA website, and you can just on these buttons and it'll lead you there. So that's just wanted to show for those of you that may have not, that may not know and that may have not gotten a chance to look at the CEPTA website. That's what the homepage looks like. Going to the next. Okay, so today's event is, again, you can see the logo that and the flyer for this event. It's called From Her Perspective, and you know, when we were thinking about our CEPT women that are going to come forward, that are going to be talking about their stories, we really thought of this phrase of being fearlessly resilient and how they've come where they've come. And I think so today's event, we're going to have stories from Shalini and Archana. We're going to talk about reaching out and seeking advice from peers. And we have Hangi going to share how she's navigated her professional space to find a space for herself in our organization. And we've got Surbi and Vikas that'll talk about how they navigated life and how Surbi restarted her career after taking a break. And then lastly, the last story we have is from Forum and Amit Patel, you know, where they sort of reinvented the parenting role. So it's quite fascinating stories. We'll get there in a few minutes. This is an interesting brain scan of a research conducted by Dr. Daniel Amen. So it's a brain scan of this was very fascinating when I first saw this. It's the resting state of male and female brains. Do you want to guess which one is male brain? The one on the left or the one on the right?
Right.
Right, for sure.
Right. So you're all right. It is the one on the right hand side. So it's fascinating. So when the male brain is resting, like everything is like it's like a white tundra, right? Everything just serene, quiet. So males, when they want to get they're resting, there's nothing going on. But what's fascinating here is that the female brain, right? There's so many things still going on in the female brain, even when she's resting, even female when they're resting. So that might, you know, so this is just to show that how by gender, by genetics, we're so different in the way we rest, in the way we feel, in the way we do things, say things. And this might explain when a female has had a hard day at work, she comes back home, she may want to talk about it, versus a guy, he may not want to talk about anything. He may want to go to his room or and grab his beverage of choice. And that's his way of dealing with things, right? And but for females, it's different. So just wanted to share that with all of you so you can all sort of see, it's fascinating to see how we genetically encoded do and think differently. And last quick thing that I want to share with you is we ran some statistics on the CEPT alumni in the North America. So that's US and Canada together. So the graph that you see on the left-hand side where we have CEPTA distribution by faculty, you can see faculty of design, which is SID, you see just a super small percentage of men, right? So it's mostly women then, and then you get on to faculty of technology, which is SPST, and you see there's way more men than women. And then planning and architecture, you've got a very even distribution of both men and women. So altogether, we've got about almost, I think, 143 CEPTA alumni in the US who have registered with us. They might be, we think the number actually might be a couple of thousand people, but as of now, we have about 143 people that have registered with us. So if you know people from CEPT and they are here, please encourage them to get registered so we can sort of have them in our database and they can participate in these events. On the right-hand side, we've got another graph that basically shows the same distribution by decade. So you can see from 60s, the number of women is almost emerging, right? And as we go from 60s to 70s to 80s, the number of women, they start taking over to a point where you have more women that have actually are in the US, they're a part of CEPTA. The actual numbers at CEPT might look a little different, I don't know. But what we have here, it's pretty fascinating. So we have almost equal distribution of both men and women by decade, in the US. So just wanted to show some of these interesting data that we just put together for all of you. So now I think I wanna pass it on over to Neha. She'll walk us through the main part of the event.
All right. Thank you, Sharad. And hi, everyone. Happy International Women's Day. And wow, what a crowd. We are, 75 participants on a call today, and this has broken all our previous records. So, you can just see how popular this event is today. So, let's dive deeper into this event. And I will, quickly share my screen here. All right. All right. Can you all see my screen? All right. So,
Yes.
from her perspective, fearlessly resilient. This is a new initiative. Every year around International Women's Day, we see a flood of events, celebrating women. And it has somewhat become customary to do so. So, what is unique about this event? And what is it that it sets itself apart from others? So this was a central inquiry that initiated our thought process. Often we see events, designed with a panel of women speakers who talk about their career success, breaking glass ceilings in various fields. And, everyone celebrates that for a day. But of course, it is a matter of celebration. But often we never really talk about the backstories that led to that success. The stories of struggles, failures, challenges, barriers that women face due to gender stereotypes and unconscious gender biases. And these are emotional stories, that has the power to touch the hearts and change the minds. And that's why it is rightly coined, from her perspective, fearlessly resilient. This initiative hopes to bring together all CEPTians in Americas towards creating an inclusive and equal world. And it also addresses one of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, the goal number 5, which is to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. As many of us work in the field of sustainability, it is enriching for all of us to be a part of such an initiative and be the ambassadors of change. And as a community, our efforts hope to connect, inspire, and empower women. This cycle here, it feeds back by engaging all of us through mentorship, networking, and shared learning. And with this overall vision and goals, the launch event today is designed with the concept of short stories of alumni women and men. So you can see that, storytelling is a powerful way to convey a message. Through short stories, we want to delve into real life situations that women face in one way or the other. These are the stories of fearlessly resilient women who took the roads less traveled, explored uncharted territories, and challenged the cultural norms. One of the key ideas behind this initiative is that the main focus of this event is a story and not a speaker. So what we mean by that is that the story and its message is in the foreground while the speaker is in the background. Meaning this initiative is of course as much as about the speakers, but it is so much more about the stories and strengths it can bring in one another. And we want to focus on the takeaways and learnings for all of us through these memoirs. Also, the main intent here is to bring different women voices to the table and share unheard stories. Real life stories have the power to inspire others, and we often connect and learn from others' challenges and failures more than the success. And that's why this event is structured very differently than Canteen Talk, where we could have had a panel of 4 women speakers talk about their career success and called it a Women Canteen Talk. But this is an event for all women, irrespective of them working or not working due to various circumstances. And in this slide, we are focusing on themes of various short stories. As you can see, there is a whole palette of topics out there, and we all can resonate with this in one way or the other. There are stories of women, changing careers, sharing seat at the table, breaking fear zones. There are stories of trust and hope. There are stories of care and career. challenging biases and norms, shattering glass ceiling. There are stories of making cognizant life choices, women entrepreneurship, stories of homemakers. Often, sometimes women needs to know their own rights and question their own biases. So there is a whole gamut of stories out there, and there are beyond what we have mentioned here. But at least from this collage of stories, today we have an opportunity to know and reflect on 4 stories. And all 4 stories are different. Each has a central theme, including many sub-themes and related topics. Hence, each story, it provides us a number of takeaways and inspiration in real life. Also, we would like to make these stories interactive and would like participants' views. So we will have a few minutes after each story for quick questions and comments. And also, please feel free to post your comments and questions in the chat box. And if we do not get a chance to address them right away, we will surely come back to it at the end in the open discussion time. So now let's look at our 4 Get Inspired stories for today. The first story is the story of trust and hope. It's about reaching out and seeking advice from peers. And it will be presented by Shalini Srivastava Modi and Archana Vyas. The second story is a story of sharing the seat at the table. And it's about navigating professional space. And this story will be presented by Rupangi Faldu. The third story is cognizant life choices. It's about navigating life and restarting career. And this story will be presented by Surbhi Baladwa and Vikas Jain. And the fourth story is care and career. And it's about reinventing the parenting roles. And this story will be presented by Forum Shah and Amit Patel. So with that, let's get started with our stories. The first story is the story of trust and hope, reaching out and seeking advice from peers. And it will be presented by Shalini and Archana. And this is a real life mentor-mentee story where they both met by chance and became friends for life. The common thread was both being alumni from CEPT, where a senior alum guided and mentored a junior alum. And so let's hear this story directly from them. So Shalini and Archana, please tell us your story. Please go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Neha, for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. I am Shalini.
Hi, everyone. I'm Archana, and we're pleased to be here today.
Pleased to be here, definitely. I'm going to share my screen, so let me know if you can see it. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So we would like to take all of you back to 2007, 14 years ago from now. And on the screen, you can see where Archana and I were placed at that point. It is worth emphasizing that this is pre-Facebook or WhatsApp time, if at all any of us can imagine that today. So here I was after the birth of my firstborn, almost confined to home, a new mother and a homemaker. But sadly, those roles didn't seem to fill me as I had expected they would. It's just the person I am, and I was truly itching to get back to the career and definitely wanted to do some decent work in my own field. But I had no clue how to do that because before I became a mother, all my efforts and attempts to land on a decent job in Canada had not been successful. So I definitely didn't want to waste my time in a job that is not, it does not feel fulfilling. So I thought maybe I could go back to school and do like a short course or something that I can financially and practically manage with taking care of Arav, my son that you see on the screen, and land on a job, maybe not the greatest, but it would be some start to my career here. And about the same time, I came to know that through common friends that my seniors from SPSD, Archana and Nikhil Vyas, have been in Canada for a while, and they have both been to graduate programs at McGill and Concordia University, respectively. For some reason, I felt an urge to connect to Archana, who I believed, being a woman, would understand my situation and will be able to guide me appropriately. So here is how that life-changing phone call for me went. So here I am calling Archana. Hello, Archana. This is Shalini from 95 SPST batch. I got your contact from Hiren. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, Shalini. Nice to connect with you. Whereabouts are you right now?
Archana, I'm in Toronto with my family, and I'm on a career break since a year since I gave birth to my son. Um, I really want to get back to work in a field related to our education. Would you be able to suggest me a course that I could do in a college or something that could lead me a job? I'm really lost, Archana, and I would really appreciate some kind of guidance from you because I don't know how things will possibly move along in regards to going back to school in this country and my family situation currently.
Few things to consider, Shalini. Doing a course is, of course, that's a good idea, but I see more benefits in doing a full-fledged master's program. I can say that because I've seen the benefits firsthand myself, and especially with all the confidence because I've just landed a job as a planner with the region of Peel. So, Shalini, once you join the program, I know it sounds very difficult and it's time consuming for sure. Once you join the program, you'll find your path forward. It may be difficult in the beginning, but in the longer run, it will pay you well. It will pay you good.
Okay, thank you, Archana. That is some food for thought. I must say that I wasn't thinking on the lines of a master's program, but I'll definitely give it a thought. Thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate it, and I'll definitely be in touch with you. Bye.
Bye.
So my two key takeaways from my call with Archana were, one, where there is a will, there is a way. And two, do not settle for less. I kept her advices in my mind and worked towards my university application. I was offered admission in a research-based master's program at University of Toronto in 2008 with full scholarship for the first year. I chose to do the major research thesis on energy simulation for highly efficient buildings in cold climatic region such as Canada, and my self-confidence has never looked back ever since then. In 2009, I gave birth to our second child, and it took me 3 years to complete my graduation with some time taken off for maternity. And I'm pretty sure most of you can understand and relate that, my family and I faced countless challenges with a baby and a very young child while I worked on my thesis. But every challenge and hardship only inspired me more and more to keep striving for new heights and kept on reminding me of Archana's two stark advices. Of course, it's worth mentioning at this point and always that my husband, him and Modi, and my two little boys have always been lovingly supportive of my ambition. I'm going to change the slide. So the slide that you see now, it shows mine and Archana's journey from the time we first talked until now. I graduated in 2011 and started working for a consulting company, working on very exciting projects that included LEED certifications, energy audits, and recommissioning. In 2014, my path sort of took a turn and I joined public sector, city of Mississauga, which is the sixth largest city in Canada. And I've been with the city since then. In 2019, I moved to the role of a business advisor with the city, which is very different from engineering, but gives me a whole new world of challenges, learning, and growth every single day. Before I pass on to Archana, I would like to mention that Archana has played a pivotal role in my journey. And I feel very, very fortunate that she came at the right time and showed me the light. We have been friends ever since, and even better, family friends. I still do and will always approach her for support and guidance whenever I find myself at a crossroad in my professional or personal journey. It's a relationship that has been built on trust and faith and is invaluable. Following her footsteps, I have been paying it forward to other seekers who I come across in my journey and will continue to do so. And I strongly believe that this is the community that we are creating and belong to. where we hold each other's hands and support our journeys leading to the path of success. So I cannot thank Archana enough, and over to Archana now.
Powerful, what you just said. But really, to be honest, for me, I didn't realize I had played this part in Shalini's life. I did what anyone would have done, and that is to give the right advice. And my advice to Shalini to do a master's program rather than investing in a course was really based on my own experience. After coming to Canada, going back to doing a second master's was a decision that I didn't take overnight, but I took after months of thinking and months of reaching out to people who would give me or who could give me a little bit of hope and help me get out of the factory job I had landed within the very first week after coming to Canada. So times were different then. But for me, a moment of change came when I took a course in engineering maths at Concordia University. And after seeing my final exam results, the professor offered me a paid thesis work that I could do to gain a master's in building science. So without any hesitation, I took that opportunity and went to my master's in building science. But very soon I realized that having background in planning, my passion was not building science. My passion was city planning, urban planning. So then I reached out to a professor at McGill University and I talked about my passion. I talked about gaining some information about the program and I signed up. I applied for the master's program and I've never looked back. At this stage in my life, I'm happily working as an advisor and creating affordable housing options for the region of Peel and the community that we have here. I'm also a proud mother of our son Ayush, who is equally fascinated with maths and city development. So we'll see where he goes. But all along this journey, I want to say, and I want to acknowledge that I've had a great deal of support and encouragement from my husband, Nikhil, who has been by my side shoulder to shoulder. So our family support is equally important as our mentors. But this is not about me. Let's come back to Shalini and her journey and her story. And why did we share this story? Shalini already shared couple of takeaways with you, and that is where there is will, there is a way. And second, never settle for less. My takeaway from the whole experience has been reach out. I commend Shalini for her desire and courage that she mustered up to reach out to me and to make that call, knowing that we had never met. We had never seen each other, but we had learned about each other through common friends. So she stepped out of her comfort zone, let go the fear, and made that call. That was when she took the first step towards shaping her own destiny. And nothing happens if you don't take action. So make that call, reach out. My second takeaway from the whole experience is that perseverance goes a long way. So never give up. Shalini placed her trust in me. She listened. And after that call, she did the hard work of doing the research and choosing her own career path. Of course, as she pointed out, there were many challenges along the way, taking care of a young child, supporting her husband, who was also starting out his own professional journey in Canada. So many challenges, emotionally, financially. But she fearlessly persevered and landed on a path that set her up for success. Today, she's well placed professionally as well as in her personal life. And she's enjoying the fruits of her own determination and her hard work. It makes me really proud and immensely happy to see her growth and look at her inspiring journey. So, second takeaway, take the advice, do your homework, and follow through. Never give up, no matter how hard the journey may look like, and actually it may be, but never give up. We know that CEPT instills a fire in us, and I want us to go back there because we all, majority who are on this call, do have some ties with CEPT. So I want to acknowledge that CEPT instills a fire in us, and it makes us believe that we are destined to achieve bigger things in life. We can make a difference. So I know that, Shalini's story, my story, many of you can relate, and many many of you actually have similar stories too, and you can share that as well. But we're sharing our story. So some of you who are on this call today may be in the same boat as Shalini was in 2007, and maybe looking for that little ray of hope and waiting to reach out to someone who can show the light and set you on a path to success. So my call for action to those of you who are waiting to reach out, just make that call, reach out. And to those of us who are in a fortunate situation to be a mentor, my call for action to you is, let's help our fellow CEPTians who are trying to make themselves, who are trying to make it in North America. Let's help them find that fire that runs under their bellies. Inspire them to be fearless. Inspire them and ask them not to settle for less. Show them their full potential to dream bigger and show them that ray of hope. Because, as Oprah Winfrey says, a mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope that is inside yourself. Thanks, everyone, for listening.
All right.
Thank you everyone for listening.
All right. Thank you, Shalini and Archana, for a very creative presentation. And, your story is something that, we all can relate to when we arrive to North America. And, we realize how important it is to have a mentor who understands our journey. And, often women are in situations where they find safe space, with other women, and you can see through their situation and, guide them. And, this is definitely inspiring for a lot of women, and asking them to reach out and seek advice from peers without hesitation. And it shows approaching a mentor at the right time can do wonders to one's journey, and builds confidence in one's capabilities to rise and shine. So again, this is a two-way learning process, and a mentor, again, a mentee evolves into a mentor. So this is an important takeaway for us as a community. And one of the goals for us to even come together here is to look out for each other. And so we can look into creating like a mentor-mentee program, and there could be like a subcategory of a woman mentor-mentee program as well, just for us as an organization. And this is really beautifully captured in your story. So with that, I would like to ask, if any participants here would like to have a quick question, comment, just kind of chime into the story if they can somewhere relate to it. Just something very quick, and of course we can come back to it later at the end of 4 stories as well. So if somebody would like to jump in, go ahead. Please unmute yourself or just put it in the chat box. Jinraj bhai.
I request everybody who wants to be a mentor and who wants to be a mentee, send an email to Neha and express their interest so that Neha can match everyone up.
That's a big
Neha,
responsibility.
get ready for 100 emails.
I got it. No, but that is definitely something as an organization we can look into it. That's one reason, why we all come together, to look out for each other. All right, so let's do one thing. Let's move on to the next story. And, meanwhile, if anyone has questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box, and we can definitely, ask that at the end. All right, so the second story is sharing the seat at the table, navigating professional space, and is presented by Rupangi Faldu. Her story is of a woman working in an industry that is still predominantly men-dominated. She would like to share her professional journey and the obstacles she faced in the way, and then charting her way through them. So her journey is from an individual contributor to leadership, where she loves to pay forward through her mentoring and DNI initiative. So let's hear her amazing story directly from her. So Rupangi, please go ahead. Please share your story with us.
Thank you, Neha. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. So good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to share my screen here. Can you all see my screen?
No.
I'm going to do this.
Yes, we can start it to show. Yep, we can see it. can probably put it in the presentation mode if you like.
Yeah, is it working?
Yes.
No, no. I think you have the
Not
same problem
totally.
as
I'm the
Ganju.
same issue.
You're having the same issue as I do.
Okay, I'm gonna try something different here.
Probably that might work, what you're clicking.
Go click on slideshow, change primary monitor.
Yeah, that's what I did actually.
Slideshow. Click on slideshow, change primary monitor.
Parth, you're not close to Dallas, are you? Okay, I'm just checking.
No.
Rupangi, you may want to share the other screen. Probably that's what is happening.
Just hold on one second. I'm gonna try all these options that I
No,
get.
Rupangi, go at the top. It's display settings and just switch it.
Yeah,
So
swap it.
display settings at the top, second option, all the way at the top.
Up bar.
Okay,
Yeah, display setting. Yeah.
Swap.
and duplicate or?
No, the
Swap.
first one.
Okay, thank you, friends. Is it working now?
Yes, it is working.
Awesome, thank you. So I just wanted to start the slideshow with my beautiful memories I had with CEPT. I got some of my friends here on the Zoom call. So yes, focus on some of the pictures, you are in them. I wanted to give a little bit of an introduction and tell a little bit about me here. Born and raised in Ahmedabad, a true Ahmedabadi at heart, did my schooling, and in 1997, I entered CEPT to do my bachelor's in what I remember as SBST, School of Building Science and Technology, now known as Faculty of Technology. I also met my soulmate here, Sandeep, who's here with me. We finished our bachelor's and came to United States to do our master's. I earned my master's from the University of Texas at Arlington, master's in environmental engineering. And after I finished that, I did a couple of consulting gigs, and then I landed in my current job, where I serve as the environmental director with Pioneer Natural Resources. This is an upstream oil and gas company based out of Dallas, Texas. Upstream means we explore and produce our oil from the ground and then push it out to distribution and processing. In my current role, I collaborate with my leadership and various business units to identify continual improvement and opportunities for environmental stewardship. But before I share the tidbits of my personal story, I would like to take a moment here and say how honored I am to be with you all and connect with you all through this beautiful initiative from her perspective and the CEPT platform. Like many of you, I came to USA after I finished my undergraduate studies with the hopes and dreams to earn my degree and make a mark in this country and make my parents and my friends proud. Each of us here, when we come here, are the ambassadors of India and carry the responsibility of introducing our country's rich legacy through our conduct and thoughts or perspectives. Having graduated from SPST, you saw the distribution of men versus women, right? So back in my batch, we had a ratio of 1:4, which is for every girl, there were 4 boys. What that did to me, and I didn't realize it back then, is it helped me grow and find my identity that unknowingly assisted me in this professional world that I am in today. As Neha said, the industry that I work in, which is perceived to be predominantly men, it gave me the sense of confidence in what I bring to the table, even if that is different and unique. It also ensured that my voice is heard. It helped me prepare not to let this gender bias be a baggage, but instead embrace that diversity and highlight that uniqueness. So, as Neha said, I talked about the gender bias. There were a few other inhibitions that I also had while I was stepping in the professional world. I wanted to talk to you here, 2 of them. And also assuming that I am not the only one that have this bias. The first one is language or accent. English not being the first language, that was something that I experienced, and I had a few incidences where my colleagues did not understand what I was saying. Many a times, they stopped me and asked, "Hey Rupangi, I did not understand a single word you said." But what they offered is to ask to repeat slowly what I just said. So what that gave me was an opportunity that rather than holding myself with this inhibition, I turned it around and I converted it light humor. I started to talk to my West Texas friends. Guys, you carry an accent as well. So let's come together and let's learn from each other. So instead of feeling offended, I was happy that they wanted to listen to what I had to offer and didn't overrun my thoughts. I also took these incidences as opportunities to educate them as how English is not my first language. And therefore, I think and analyze in my brain in a different language, which is my mother tongue. And then I project back in English. So it does take a few seconds to do that process. It fascinated them quite a bit. And this not only helped me, but them as well, where I was applauded for not sounding offensive, but taking that in a positive stride. And it has been a smooth road ever since for both of us equally, as we are equally vested in embracing each other's differences and adversities. Over time, though, I have reached out to very same colleagues asking for feedback because I was still working on overcoming this barrier. So if I am improving, if I'm changing, can they understand me now? This helped me grow and overcome my barriers. I also take these incidences to share these events with my other international friends, not just Indians, but the others that come from other parts of the world, friends and colleagues alike, when I see them struggle and shell themselves. How to be bold, use it towards growth, embracing that identity, and not just on yourself, but also others around you, and make that a learning and a growth opportunity. So that was one. Now, the second one I wanted to share with you all is an inhibition I bet all of us professional women face is when we are at the crossroads between the biological clock, starting a family, and professional growth, when they tend to be in the conflict with one another. Each of us have taken a different path that made sense to us as a person. So I'm not here to judge that one is right versus the other. But what I wanted to share with you all is my journey. What I have learned through that and what is critical in my professional growth is that it was important for me to create a support system both at home and at work. So first I'll talk about my home front. When I went back to work after my maternity leave, I had tremendous support from my family, starting with parents, both sides. But the constant support I received was from my husband, Sandeep, here. And I want to share you one incident that I remember vividly. When I had just started this new job and I was asked to take a 3-day work trip to understand how we operate out in our field. So here I am packing my bags and flying to Kansas. Only did I know that when I landed at the airport that I got a call from Sandeep informing me that our 2-year-old was running 103 fever. All of a sudden my heart sank and that working mom guilt sank in. And I started to question whether I was doing the right thing, whether I should be here working or I should be back home cuddling with my baby who's running high fever. It was then when Sandeep, and all the credit goes to him, who reminded me that he is a parent too, and he is at home to take care of our baby. He took our son to the doctor, gave him meds, but also answered my endless calls. This was a changing moment for me personally that made me realize that I have a partner in Sandeep that is equally vested in supporting our family needs. be it house chores, be it taking care of the kid, or letting me know that we are equals and are going to support each other for the rest of the life for each other's development. And this is not enough, right? So it was equally important to create that support ecosystem at work. Big kudos to my pioneer team and overall organization that I feel blessed that I could lean on any and all of my team members and also felt comfortable doing so. An example that I would like to share here was when I had a family member go through some health crisis and I had to step in as a secondary caretaker, I was able to lean on my team and my management for that matter to get the things moving so nothing is stalled while I could take care of my family and support their needs. This was also a learning moment for me personally, as I realized being a servant leader, that how do I create that support and the true spirit of team when there is a sense of comfort from each member, no matter where they sit in the organization, that when they have personal struggles, that they don't feel hesitant to reach out and help. So those are my personal inhibitions and barriers I wanted to share with you all. But moving forward, one of the things that comes to my mind that I have heard my hero, my role model, Indra Nui, the ex-CEO of PepsiCo, saying, please help others rise. Greatness comes not from a position, but from helping build the future. So at this juncture of my life, when I have been reflecting quite a lot and realizing how both men and women have been my advocates and lifting me up, encouraging me, and they still continue to do so. Keeping that same spirit of paying forward, I would like to share a couple of initiatives that I have been a part of. The first is at my organization, Pioneer, I have been blessed to have a company that takes the diversity and inclusion initiative to the heart. I remember recently my executive vice president stating this, that diversity and inclusion is a crucial factor for our company's success, not just a sustainability metric. Through Pioneer, I was part of the launch committee of Women's Resource Group, where I worked towards developing the vision with a diverse group of powerhouse women. It was such a fascinating experience. It allowed each of us to collaborate and lift each other up rather than compete. Over the years, I was also a part of various diversity and inclusion initiatives. A few of these pictures that I'm sharing with you all on the screen here. We celebrated international festivals, whether it was Diwali, whether it was Black History Month, Spanish Heritage, or Chinese New Year. We also have an annual food event. We call it Taste of Pioneer, where we get to taste each other's food and delicacies. But what is important through all these events, whether it's celebrating festivals, celebrating food, or volunteering for our community, what made us realize is that this is not just those were not just events where we managed to have fun, but they were also learning opportunities, embracing diversity. Going back to the women's initiative, it helped me personally reinforce how powerful women are when we collaborate and bring others with us in the success. Another initiative that I'm currently a part of is with University of Texas Austin, K. Bailey Hutchinson Council. I have been able to create a network of many professionals spread across the country as a part of mentoring, knowledge sharing, and learning opportunity. Mentoring has been so far the most enriching experience. One of the things that my mentor says, and she quotes from Marshall Goldsmith's book, and also leads by example, she says, people will often forget what you did, but what they will not forget is how you made them feel. As we just heard Shalini and Archana's mentoring story, where Archana's hindsight helped form Shalini's foresight. That's what mentoring is about. So I'll end here with an inspiring statement from our very own Indian American Vice President Kamala Harris. She says, I may be the first, but won't be the last. I truly believe that my talk here was successful if you are able to relate with me. And if we don't connect and I can't answer your questions today, feel free to reach out to me on my Facebook, LinkedIn, and I also have posted my personal email address. Thank you, my friends, and God bless.
All right. Thank you, Rupangi, for such an amazing story. Your story can, surely inspire, a lot of women who are, working in fields which, we are kind of like still perceived to be like dominated by men, and, showing them the avenues for overcoming those barriers. And, there are many takeaways for everyone, mentoring and sharing learning, and, identifying those common threads of experiences, and how to spark the idea to help others, and in dealing with different situations, and utilizing those avenues internally and externally. So thank you so much for very candidly sharing your story, and also it was amazing to see how Sandeep supported you, and that's a very key to achieving gender equality in a lot of ways. So thank you for sharing your story. And with that, I would like to ask if there are anyone on this call who would like to kind of just share some views, something that you can relate to the story, especially if there are gentlemen out there who are like working in industries where you do not see a lot of women co-workers, and if you have some experience of how you help women at your workplace, there are any special efforts that you do, or any of those stories if you have, and if you want to quickly just chime in, please feel free to jump in.
Yes, so I have one, and I think I would like to just mention, that's really nice that how your husband kind of helped you, your soulmate supporting you. With mine, I can share my story where my dad, including my mom, right, but more than my dad, very respectful and actually very supportive, right? And we don't see that often. Sometimes, a lot of my friends could not say the same. And it's really nice to be born, and feel blessed to have like family or parents, or, even a husband, right, who actually supports, in such. So obviously I've also been lucky to have mentors in my life, in my career, and been, worked in careers that the company also instilled the culture of empowering women, right? But yeah, anyways, that's what I wanted to add. So it was very something similar I had experienced. So
all right, thank you so much. And would you please like to quickly introduce yourself, because it's not many of us know you.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Henny. I am based out of New Jersey, and I've just had a friend of mine forward this invite to me, and I was quite interested because I'm very much, so this, even from the logo perspective, and I just initially saw the poster, I was quite, I think I had a kind of a vision on what it was supposed to be. So it's quite nicely put. Yeah. So that was
And if I may ask,
right,
are you a CEPT alumni or?
I'm not.
Okay, good, great. Well, welcome. Thanks for joining.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm really happy that I got the chance to log in, and yeah.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Happy to have you. All right. So is there anyone else who would like to chime in quick, or we can move on?
Can I just quickly say something? So, greatly said, Rupangi, and even Henny, right? Because you need men's support starting from your birth or everywhere, right? So I think so. Even I feel blessed because my dad also works. Like he has given me a lot of things, right? Like he always had that thing, like me and my brother are equal. All the work were distributed equally, even though the servant doesn't come home, like they don't come, we have to do equal work. I never had to do something which I wasn't like a man would not do it, something like that. And even right now, so I am also in similar kind of a field which is dominated by men, but I'm blessed to have good co-workers and tremendous support from my husband and my kids. I have two boys, so I think so I'm really blessed to be surrounded by all these men. So really great.
All right, cool. That's good to hear.
Neha, I just wanted to add on. Well, actually, Timur was a friend of mine, which had actually mentioned to me. So you can, I can give the credit to him.
Yeah, he deserves a lot of credit. He has been very instrumental in, really making this event possible. So yeah, he deserves
Indeed.
all credit.
Indeed, yes.
Yeah, Timur has been a force.
He's worked
Yes.
quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so let's do this thing. We have a quick poll question. Timur, would you please like to launch poll question 1? And the idea behind poll questions is that it kind of helps us in getting some feedback on what participants are thinking, and that can help us shape future events and this overall initiative. So
Neha, do you have a minute for a quick comment, or do we have to jump into the poll right now? Okay, so hi
please
everyone.
go ahead. Yeah, sure.
This
Please go
is
ahead.
Smita here, and I think all the points that were put together, by Rupangi and Henny and all the others. I mean, I am in a way in complete agreement, and in a way, I have seen the low side of it. So I mean, yeah, I actually also did an MBA program while I was working, and my husband was actually totally putting in to take care of the kids and stuff. And I had a lot of my girlfriends actually around me saying, hey, wow, you've got an awesome husband who's really doing so much at home and doing everything. I really have always replied back and say, you see 50% of the time when he's working, the other 50% when he's traveling or he's doing stuff, is when you don't do you really give a pat on my back and say, hey, you know what, you're a very supporting wife. So I think the only point that I want to put out there, at the cost of sounding feminist, that it is a teamwork. If we are treating it as equals, as much as we thank our husbands need to thank us, and so would the male peers do. So I just wanted to throw this out there because I've personally experienced this, and no matter how thankful I am with the men in my life, but I feel it to have a equal footing, the men should start saying this more often.
Yes, very, very well said. Definitely. I mean, this is a teamwork, a true, teamwork, dream work. And, I think even the 2 more stories that we have, they are also going to capture very similar ideas and, just similar very views and experiences. So thank you for sharing your story. So, okay, let's kind of, get our poll question 1, and, we can continue to take more views, as we go along. All right, so the question here is, how would you like to be involved in From Her Perspective initiative? So would you like to present your story, let's say, in future events? Would you like to facilitate this event? Would you kind of work and plan with the committee? Or would you just like to participate in this event? So, this would be very helpful to know, what everyone is thinking.
Be getting static from somebody, I think. Yeah, so maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know where it's coming from, but I just.
Unmute you. Please keep yourself, muted, except for the presenters. That would be helpful. All right, I think let's give it another 20 seconds, 30 seconds more, and then we can just close the poll. And Timur, if you could please share the results. All right, I think let's close the poll, and we can, just quickly see what everyone has marked. All right, so we have 22% who want to present the story, 22% who wants to facilitate the event, 44% who wants to work and plan with the committee. That's interesting. And 71% who wants to participate. So that's good. All right, this should be helpful. And let's move on to our third story for today. And the third story is it's a story of cognizant life choices. It's about navigating life and restarting career. And this story will be presented by Surbhi Baladwa and Vikas Jain. And her story is something that I think most women will be able to relate. She had a long career break, and she got back into work life after that. So it was a well-informed decision to actually take that career break. And so let's hear this amazing, interesting story from both of them. So Surbhi and Vikas, please go ahead, tell us your story.
Hello all, can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay, great. Thank you, Neha, and thank you all for joining us this evening. I'm Surbhi.
And I'm Vikas. While we don't have a PowerPoint presentation, hopefully we'll be able to keep you engaged with our charming faces and beautiful, nice voice.
It is great to share this with our fellow CEPTians. Today, we will share our journey and life choices that we made to be where we are today. With the birth of our firstborn, Vivan, in 2010, we needed to make a decision on our parenting responsibilities. And I decided that I will take a break from work for a few years. In 2014, we were blessed with Myra, and we were already in that mindset. Now, here in the US, childcare facilities are easily available if both parents decide to work. So why did we choose to go this path? Our main reason was that we wanted a work-life balance as a unit, as a family. We valued it then and we value it now. Both Vikas and my parents are independent thinkers, and so I do believe that nature and nurture helped us to follow what would work for us and not get bogged down by societal expectations. Back in college, I used to hear that so-and-so does not work anymore or has changed their career path and their CEPT education got wasted. However, we both firmly believe that education or anything that one learns never gets wasted. It in fact gets imparted to people around us.
As the old adage goes, when you educate a man, you educate the man. When you educate a woman, you educate the community.
So amongst many other positives of being at home with the kids, the two that I would like to highlight are we experienced all our kids firsthand, and it has bonded us in a special way. And also traveling with the kids to other places as well as to India for longer periods was more feasible, which I love too, because of which, we do feel that they have a strong connect with language, culture, and family back home. Now, during these years when I was taking the break, there were moments where I was concerned with restarting my career, re-entering the workforce. While on the break, it is helpful that one can network and keep abreast of industry trends by reading about it. So after about 7 years of taking the break, I was ready to work again.
And as Surbhi was contemplating getting back to work, we brainstormed various career choices, career paths, if she wanted to do something different than what she had been trained in academically or otherwise. Everything was on the table. We both worked together to update her resume. We started talk to people in our network just to explore different ways of getting back to work.
And so I happened to speak to Timir, and who is is the host here, and he said that they might have an opening at his workplace. So I took my CEPT confidence for the interview with the head of the company. I wanted to start working part-time so that it would be an easy transition for us as well as the kids. I was honest about it and mentioned this in the interview. And also, I was being offered a job in construction compliance, which was not really something that I had worked in before. And so the CEO of the company I was interviewing with, he agreed that they could accommodate my working part-time as well as they would train me. And so I started working with them. And after about 6 months, when the kids had transitioned well and got used to my working. And also I was comfortable working again. I started working full time, and next month I will complete 4 years with this company. We when we look back at that phase of life, it brings a big smile to our face, and it was a very joyful and fulfilling phase of our lives. And since our work was divided, we were not grappling with being overworked. And
again, to Smita's point, she raised earlier during the previous conversation discussion, since Surbi was at home, she was holding the fort at that front. I was able to focus on my work, on my career, professional growth, and she is equally, I pat her back. I cannot do that enough to basically where we are together and where I am personally in my career. And that also then helped me spend quality time with kids and Surbi.
In closing, I do not see as some sort of sacrifice I made, and if I were to do it all over again, I would do it the exact same way. This entire journey taught us courage of conviction and brought us close as a family. We both, and also our kids, live by the mantra, be an independent thinker and do more of what makes you happy. Timur, can you share we have two then and now pics that we'd like to share with you all.
And even though I said we don't have PowerPoints, I was cheating. That's not us. Us.
Okay, the before.
He's lost.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, that's it.
So this is us at the CEPT canteen concrete bench, reading away, and our friend Mambo Vishal Mehta, who took the picture, and we treasure it. And
but I guess about 20 years.
Yeah, 20.
I have my own interpretation of this picture, which I'm going to say after you guys are done.
Okay. And then we can do a now picture, please. So this is
Sorry.
here. Yes, this is us and the kids now, and that's about it. That's our story. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. Yeah, those are really, really cute pictures. I mean, especially the CEPT picture is just so cute. And then, seeing that, before and after all these years, it just captures the whole journey, in a way. So,
Yes.
thank you so much for sharing such a lovely story. And, of course, every couple has different situations and has their own way of making decisions and choices. So, as long as we're making well-informed decisions and, it's a teamwork where both support each other, it's just create wonders. And, these are cognizant life choices. And I'm sure a lot of women are able to relate to you, Surbi, having that career break and coming back. And it's not easy. Those are pretty daunting moments for a lot of women to, just get back into work life after many years of break. And so, kudos to your persistent commitment and, coming back, and this can inspire a lot of women. So would, anyone like to kind of chime in, share some views, you can relate with this?
Timur is ready.
I like to talk about this picture. ये picture में most likely because सुरभि को कुछ बोल रहा है, he has made up a new English word that doesn't exist in the dictionary, and Surbi is looking at the Oxford dictionary and telling Vikas कि तुम उल्लू मत बनाओ, ये लवरी मत करो, ये ऐसा कोई word ही exist नहीं करता है.
I wish we had a video of that time.
Right. Good to get the secret out. All right. So, would anyone like to chime in, or we can, again, take those comments at the end as well.
I just want to add one quick thing that the CEO of the company that Surbi talked about, he is actually in attendance of this event right now as we speak. He is just hiding in mute and stopped video. But I don't know if he wants to just come forward and say hello. Shri?
Yes, Samir, Surabhi, Vikas,
Hey.
you don't know how pleased I am. I enjoy every day working with the CEPT graduates in the organization. It's my pleasure, and we would love to have more of CEPT people in our organization, and I'm extremely thankful for the organization to develop such great quality and mature individuals. It's a pleasure every day. Thank you. They make my life very easy and make everything
Thank you
go
so
very
much,
well.
Shri.
Thank you,
Thank you
Surabhi.
so much. And
Your
thank you.
story was very impressive, and I enjoyed every bit of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shri. I mean, that is wonderful to hear for all of us, all CEPTians here, to get that kind of compliment from somebody, from outside. And, it's great to hear that. And thank you, for joining the call today.
My pleasure, ma'am. My pleasure. Thank you.
Neha, I just want to give a quick time check. So we're at 2:20.
Yeah. So let's go quickly. We can have a quick poll question too. Timmy, could you please launch the poll question? And everyone will have about 30 seconds to mark, and it's again going to be multiple choice question. So you can mark more than one option. And so here, the question here is, what topics would you like to see and attend for future events? So the idea is that, should we have future events which are, more themed and they revolve around one specific topic? So if you, think, any of this theme makes sense, something that you would like to see, again, you can choose more than one option. So please feel free to mark your answers. Topics like socio-cultural stereotypes and unconscious biases. So there are stories that can specifically talk about that. There could be stories of change of careers by women. There could be stories which are career break and where women are stay-at-home moms and partners for some time. Women and men in leadership roles. Women and men entrepreneurs. There are stories of men supporting women. Could be anyone, spouse, co-worker, friend, family, so helping and supporting women around them. Stories of co-parenting. And we can also invite some subject matter experts. We can have guest speakers whose work is is in the field of gender research or subjects like gender intelligence, some of these upcoming topics that are coming up. So we can also invite some guest speaker to come and give a talk and have a discussion around that. So I think we can have another 10 more seconds and then we can close this poll. And Timmy, after that, could you please launch the results?
Sure.
All right, so looks like 61 highest is women and men entrepreneurs. Okay, that's interesting. And yeah, these are really good answers, and this should definitely help in formulating future events. Thank you all for marking these answers. And with that, we would now quickly like to go to our fourth story, which is the last story for today. And this story is a story of care and career, and it's about reinventing parenting roles. And it will be presented by Forum Shah and Amit Patel. And their story is of valuing both partners, careers, and care. And while the sacrifice doesn't always have to be done by a woman. So it is also about co-parenting where, the gender roles, the mom and dad roles are kind of reversed. So, they have an interesting story and a very powerful one. So let's hear it directly from them. So, Forum and Amit, please go ahead. Please share your story with us.
Sure. Thanks so much, Neha, and very good afternoon, good evening to everybody. I'm so delighted to be here, and some of the faces, there are familiar faces who I'm virtually meeting after, let's say, a decade or even 2 decades. So it's absolutely amazing to be connecting with you all again, and I also see a lot of new faces. So welcome everybody, and I'll share my screen. Just to reintroduce myself, I'm Forum Shah, and if you can see the screen, I hope you can see the screen now.
Yes.
That's my family. It's me, my husband Amit, and my 5-year-old son Ishan. And since I'm going to talk about care and career, I'm going to start with the job description of a mom. And we all know that it's not a 9-to-5 job. Any mom's job is not 9-to-5. And I would also argue that any involved parent, their job is not 9-to-5. And I'll talk about it in next 10 minutes. So my another not so 9-to-5 job is that I work for the World Bank, an international development bank, and I'm based in their headquarters in Washington D.C. I'm an urban specialist. So what it means is I work on anything to do with cities. I lead World Bank's investments in, let's say, city infrastructure or cities' fiscal health or urban development and so on, right? And currently I'm focusing on Middle East and North Africa region of the World Bank, which means I work in the cities of Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Palestine, and a few other countries. And what you see on the screen is a bit of a glamorous side of our work, which is to go to conferences, attend policy dialogues, sit with city leaders and decision makers and talk about urban development and how we can make it inclusive, sustainable, resilient, and all of those good stuff, right? So this is my career, and I've been fortunate to travel to around, let's say, 15 developing countries through my work, and I still think it's a low number because World Bank has 189 member countries, and I haven't covered even 10% of that, right? So, but what I want to convey here is that my work, the nature of my job, is very travel intensive. I have to travel a lot, and that has an impact on the other facet of my life, which is my home, right? At home, I have Ishan, my 5-year-old son, and Amit. Amit teaches at University of Massachusetts, Boston. So you can imagine our home is in DC. I travel for work. Amit travels for his work. So we have a lot of balls up in the air, and we try and juggle. And I think we're managing it pretty okay. And how we're managing it? We actually reinvented the parenting roles for both of us to travel and for both of us to keep our careers, right? So it's not a key and car model. If you have watched that Bollywood movie, and those for those who haven't, in the movie, the guy wants to stay at home, and the girl wants to climb the career ladder. In our case, that's not the model. We both love our careers very passionately. So what we did was we broke those stereotypical roles for a mom and a dad, right? So traditionally, what you would have is a bucket of roles for a mom and a bucket of roles for a dad. What we did was we collapsed those two buckets. So what we had was a long list of tasks that we had to do for childcare, and whoever was available at the time stepped up and did the task for childcare, right? So in the process, what happened was Amit took a very large share of that childcare responsibility, because my traveling job, sometimes I would be out of my own home, let's say 15 to 20 days at a stretch out of a month. So very, very day-to-day needs of our son, Amit started to pitch in, whether it was his sleep training or whether it was potty training, it was all Amit who did it, right? So, and not to say that I didn't have any part to play. I was very much present, I also take large share of tasks, but what I want to convey is Amit became the primary caregiver for Ishan. Um, and whenever Ishan does something good, he looks for his daddy. Whenever Ishan falls down, he doesn't say mommy, he says daddy. Right. So that kind of dynamics we have in our family where Amit is a primary caregiver. I still play a mother's role. I love doing math with him. I love doing arts with him. But I'm still a secondary caregiver. Amit still is a primary caregiver. And with this, we thought that we're making it work. Our family is a happy family, right? But but the people around us didn't think the same way. They had a different perception about how our family worked. And there were many fingers pointed at me. There were many questions raised. Some of these questions just were on my motherhood instincts, right? Whether I have it or not, whether I have what it takes to be a mother or not, whether I have that love for my child or not, or there were some questions asked around my choices because of the tools and mechanisms I put in place for making it work. For example, sending my kid to a daycare, right? So there were also a lot of questions asked for those kind of choices that I had to make. The concerning thing about this was that these comments were not only coming from your distant auntie or uncle or a friend who you would meet just once in a year at someone else's wedding party, and then they feel the need to give you the advice. I mean, there were those two, but this also came from very close circle of ours, very close relatives of ours, the very support system that we had built for our child care, right? So it came in all forms and shapes. It came in form of obnoxious comments that take you down, but it also came in a form of very well-intentioned concerns. And that's when I realized there was something fundamentally wrong about this. The more concerning thing was that none of these questions were directed to Amit. Everybody was questioning my choice, my career, and my intentions, but there were no questions asked to Amit, right? So that's when I sat down and said, oh, there's something fundamentally wrong here. There is a change in how we view a mother, her career and her childcare responsibility, and how we view a father, his career and his childcare responsibility, right? Just like Smita was mentioning, if a mother changes a diaper, it's part of her responsibility. But if dad does it, he's put on a pedestal. So is it fair? Is it fair the load of expectations that we have on our mothers versus nothing on our dads? And this is really visible and rampant everywhere you go in society, right? You go to malls, you go to grocery stores, you go to a park, you see a mother with her kid and you see a dad with her kid, and the kind of reactions you would have for the same thing that they are doing would be very different. A mother would get a different reaction, a dad would get a different reaction, right? So these are really double standards that are prevailing in the society. um, and this affects all of us, not just mothers, not just kids, not just dads. This affects all of us. And how does it affect? And before we go to effects and impact, let's just pause and look at this chart. This chart shows the shifting ground reality. There are 71% of mothers in workforce today. If you look at 1970s number, there were only 50% of women who were mothers that were working. Today, the number has increased to 71%, right? So the ground reality has shifted. But our cultural norms and expectations from moms hasn't kept pace with this ground reality change, right? So there is this difference between what is happening in the world versus what we expect and what our cultural norms are. And how does it play out? It plays out on 3 critical levels. And first is your workplace. We all complain about having very few women on leadership positions. But if you think of it, your talent pipeline, early career women or mid-career women who are becoming mothers, they are either overworked because of a lot of expectations at work and at home, or they are told to lower their ambitions, or they fall out of the workforce. And I'm not talking about women who choose to go out of the workforce, just how Surbhi did. I'm talking about women who want to stay in the workforce. I'm talking about the women who have to stay in the workforce because of economic reasons and other reasons. They have to fall out, or they are lowering their ambitions, and or they are overworked, right? So your talent pipeline is not robust enough. With these leakages in your talent pipeline, how can you expect more women to take those leadership positions, right? So that is something that we all need to be concerned about. Some of you are CEOs, we just heard from one, and some of you are running your own businesses. So I'd urge you to look into your workplace policies. There are a lot of conversations around these workplace policies, paternity leaves, maternity leaves, flex work arrangements, daycares at your workplaces, and all of that. And I think with that we can slowly change the dynamics, right? So I think that's number one level where we have to work. And there is already so many conversations around these topics. So I'm glad that this is happening. But there is this second level where this change in ground reality has and the difference between that and the cultural expectations plays out is in our society. Just as you would have an overworked colleague, work colleague, you would also have overworked mothers and therefore unhappy families. So what can you do to change this dynamics, right? We have to change perceptions. We have to change the mindset. And how do you do it? You have to create more and more awareness, have more dialogues. And that's why I think the platform that we're launching today is so much important. We can use this platform to hear everybody's voices and also discuss some of these issues that affects all of us, right? And then finally, I wanted to go to the third level where this impacts all of us, and that's on individuals, right? I actually was a victim of it. After hearing so much negative feedback from everyone around me, I used to be very guilty whenever I was in public eye. I held my son so close to me so he doesn't go to Amit for his needs, but he comes to me whenever we go to a public event, right? I had to sit down, work with myself, and I was fortunate that I was able to overcome that guilt. But I've known so many friends who are, full of guilt or fighting depression or having some mental health problems just due to this, over expectation problems. So I think there is a lot to be done in that arena as well. And one of the things that we can do is, make your partner your real partner, right? So have that conversation with your partner and see how you can work it out. And I'm glad that I have Amit with me, who's leading by example, has done a lot for our family. And I'm glad that he's going to share his perspective. And before I hand it over to him, I will just make a last point that in the whole story, we forget one important actor, and that is our own kids. If we make them also our partners, if we make them also part of our stories, we can go a long way. And I'm saying this by self-experience, and I'm glad that Amit is going to also touch upon this. So over to Amit.
Thank you, Forum. I'll not take more than 2 minutes. I just want to reiterate 3 of the main points. First, putting dads on pedestal, rendering them as heroes for doing normal parenting tasks is completely unfair to moms who have been doing this for generations. So we need to change this. Dads needs to do a lot more in this changed societal structure, and they're nowhere near. Second, there is a shaming as a dad for us too. And that's, for example, when my friends call me for a drink, And if I say I can't come today, I'm with Ishan, the first thing I hear from them is, oh, so you're babysitting again. And I'm like, why, how does this become babysitting when I'm one of the parents, right? So to me, it's parenting. And I feel like this dynamics needs to change as well. And finally, the third main point is that we need to raise our next generation differently to break this chain of stereotypes. So we take every opportunity to tell Ishan that no task is associated with gender. And if he brings any such notion from the external environment, which is bound to happen, we always remind him by saying that not in this family. And we also teach him that every family is different. They do things differently, and whatever works best for them, this is how it works in our family. And so if all of us take this educational moment with our kids, we can create the world that is better for our next generation, one child at a time. So I'll stop at that. Thank you so much for listening to our story. Back to you, Neha.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Forum and Amit. This is a wonderful, wonderful story, very powerful story, and a lot of takeaways. You both are demonstrating kind of an example where I think a couple can have it all. So both care and both careers. This is a very important takeaway because on one level, we talk about, not having enough women in the workforce. And then on the other level, we still carry the notion that the women's primary duty is, it is still to provide the care. And, I think then, we are not putting this equation together. And so often, when a woman talks about her career, it kind of starts bearing a negative connotation because there's still that gender stereotype is still very much there that, women are expected to be the nurturing ones. Men can be nurturing ones too. And, this story highlights, very beautifully. And, it's also highlights that it's difficult for men as well, as Amit presented his perspective that, when a man is supporting women, even that is a difficult part for him also to break those biases and stereotypes. And so, your story has many important takeaways at different levels. And this definitely requires questioning a lot of our unconscious biases that we all do carry. And, thank you again for candidly sharing your story. And I would like to, if there are participants' views for this story, definitely please chime in. But, before I open it up to everyone, actually, as a participant, I would like to add to this story because, that's something that I personally, am able to kind of connect and, resonate with it on my personal life. And, I think Forum, you are doing a wonderful job. And so, you Amit as well. And, this is like, I was pretty much raised in a very similar way that, when my mother, she also worked with World Bank on many projects, and she had to travel for field work to a lot of remote villages in Gujarat. And she used to be away for like 15-20 days and just gone. And, as a kid, I remember I had to do my own homework. My mom was not around all the time as and when I needed. So, that actually made me so much independent. And, I became adaptable to different life situations. And, there is, as you highlighted, there is a lot of learning for the next generation. So, a lot of times I went with my mother to those villages, on vacation time, she will take me, and what I learned seeing her, like she will do like focus group meetings, lead a team of investigators and coders, write reports, present papers in conferences. A lot of these things I just never had to learn because I pretty much just saw my mom doing it all the time. So, it is a myth when we say that when the mother is away, it's not good for children, they are not going to be raised well. But actually, there is a lot of learning for the next generation when they see their mother and father in a certain way. So, again, I pretty much say, I wouldn't be what I am if my mother couldn't be what she wanted to be. So, there is a connection there. So, thanks Forum and Amit for such a, openly and candidly talking about a lot of things. And, if there are anyone on the call who would like to kind of chime in and share some views, would be definitely, it will be wonderful.
Well, I did not say, I'll just sum up all the talks. They were just wonderful, and one felt really proud of the presentations. But what was most interesting to me is how in each story, you're trying to go beyond the status quo. You know, each person was sort of expressing how the potential to do so, how they were using their skills, and it's very exciting. And the last talk, of course, forum and all summed it up at a sort of larger societal level, at that you want to do it at the workplace and at the cultural societal level and at home. And eventually health is made at home in a sense. So you start at the bottom and then you'll change the other levels more easily. But all the talks just showed that each one didn't take the status quo as given. Exciting, very exciting. And you're a great, I guess, MC or whatever you might call it, coordinator, Neha, also. So you and, you have a lot of your own stories to tell and feedback. So it was a very well put together show, very well conceived. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
I also want to
for
add.
kind words. Yeah, sure,
I'm
please
one
go
of
ahead.
the older people, so I think I can say all this from the 70s batch.
No, definitely, Avni, we would next event, we will love to hear your story.
No,
yes.
Might come in, please.
Yes.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yeah, I think Palak Joshi, please go ahead. Yes.
Hi, everybody. I'm 94 batch, School of Building Science and Technology. And I really enjoyed all the stories. Thank you so much for putting in the hard work and putting this event together. I want to say that the one thing that's really striking about all of these stories, the women's stories, is that all of these women made their own choices. And I think they've stuck to that and, figured out how they wanted to go from point A to point B, which was their point of choice. And that is very remarkable. And I feel like CEPT women do that. And that's amazing. So thank you for all the stories and putting together this event.
Thank you, Palak. Thank you for kind words. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to come in when you're free.
Yeah, sure. Please go ahead.
Right. I think we are all fortunate that our seed to understand equality came from the institute we went through. That's a fact. No other institute during that period believed in all these things. I must thank all the speakers, good narration. From my experience from the other side of the gender, two things to remember. Are you going to make America your home or not? All depends on that. If you think you're going to make it your home, then take active interest and make your life a holistic life. Professionalism is only the life. And many of you proved that when you mentioned about your families. So it's an equal partnership between two genders in a journey, professional, cultural, family, everything. In the end, whatever you do, at the end of the day, both of you and your family should be happy. That is it. When you sleep, when you go to bed, you say, oh, it was a good day for me today. Always remember that. But excellent work. And we've seen that we have non-CEPTian taking part in this thing. Now, this is what I consider the start of what we started. I think when it is Palak who contacted me, and then I asked you to refer to Neha. Yeah, and I mentioned, I don't remember the name, okay? But I did mention that it may be one day this will grow into sort of a Pan America of Indian universities in America, which had been missing for a long time. Means there are so many Indians from other institutes, okay, and they must be dying to hear and relate their stories to all of us. And I think we are moving. That's what interests me all the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Suresh Bhai. Kirit Bhai, I think you want to say.
I think first I wanted to thank you, Neha, Timir, and Ganju for really creating a fantastic program. And we all are very, very happy that you have really created an interest that is very outstanding. And creating something that is very much universal and outside of a traditional kind of architecture, planning, engineering, and all that stuff too. That relates to everybody. I mean, I talked to my daughter. She's been quite a bit into women's movements and all that stuff. And she was excited. She says, I don't understand. This is a CEPT alumnus, and you are talking about some social women's empowerments and issues. And I told her, he said, listen, we come from a place where idea is important, creativity, and making things kind of happen. So I think thanks to all the stories, and I'm sure everybody can relate to the stories, and it's very effectively been presented. And thanks again to all the people who volunteers and put together, and looking forward to some more stories to hear. And I think we will start with Avni, because Avni has a great story to tell. So we should have her on next time. But thanks again. And thank you everyone to be participate in it. Great.
And thank you, Kirit Bhai. Thank you. Thank you. It's a truly teamwork. Please go ahead.
I just want to add one quick point. I know we need to move to the next poll, but these wonderful stories that we just heard from 5 women, it is such a coincidence, right? Or probably not, that their spouses are also from CEPT, and they happen to be CEPT couples, and that itself says a lot. How supportive and what kind of environment, or how people have grown, as a matter of fact, at CEPT to be better people. I just wanted to highlight that point.
Yeah, Timir, I was going to ask that as a trivia question. Just wanted to see if someone can, figure it out. Like there's some common thread between all of our storytellers today, and that's coincidentally that all of them have, married fellow CEPTians. So it's a.
Sorry to spoil that. I didn't realize that. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just no problem.
Just
all right. So, yeah. So let's let's give a round of applause. Oh, sorry,
just a quick comment. I
please.
apologize. I couldn't join for the whole thing because I was in other sessions with colleagues. But what touched me is the course that you are running. If you lived long enough, you can look back, and looking back at my own career here in an academic environment, they are very enlightened employers compared to other industry situations. And even there, we had to work, and it's still not resolved, equal pay for equal work. So the challenges which are present, and you are running the course, what are the present and future challenges which perhaps need be addressed? You running such complex courses. So what I would urge you people to really, you articulated your challenges, but how the system, the profession, the academy, the industry, the marketplace has to respond to this. It's a long struggle, I would say, and bravo. But while you're doing this, this is another aspect. Taking a longer perspective on this would help enormously other people. Your parents carried the torch to push you where you are, which nobody talks about. But that was a major kind of you standing in that shoulder, and then the next one, what would happen? So once again, bravo, and very inspired to hear these things.
Thank you,
So,
Vikram Bhai. Thank you so much.
Neha, do you think we should probably get him to sort of talk about the logo? Because I think that's a beautiful thing in itself. Maybe give him a couple of minutes to talk about that, and then we'll move on to maybe possibly the poll. But also, I think we have Priyanka who has some questions. I think there are other people that have questions. So don't want I want just some spotlight to go on Hemant too, because I think he's done some amazing work there.
Right, Sharad, so I just wanted to kind of wrap it up and kind of conclude everything. So do we, and then kind of just open it up for Hemant to.
Okay. Sure. So let me.
So I will.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. So just give me like 2 minutes. I just had some, just concluding remarks to just wrap up all these 4 stories. So, first of all, let's have a round of applause for all of our presenters. They have done wonderful job to actually present real life stories to us, which can, touch our emotions. And that was the real reason why we wanted to create this platform where we can talk beyond just architecture, planning, and engineering, and just about work. So, getting into real life. So just very quickly, I'll just share my screen quickly. So, as everyone highlighted very rightly that, what is the key? There's a question here. What is the key to advancing gender equality? And, there's a recently published book, Good Guys, How Men Can Be Better Allies for Women in the Workplace. And, this gender in workplace experts, David Smith and Brad Johnson, they really counter this perception that, too many times the gender inclusion initiatives, they focus on, how women themselves should respond. Reinforcing the perception that, these are women issues and that the men don't need to be involved. And, a lot of our stories today actually highlighted, how important and crucial it is for men to be involved. And, again, it highlights, the research highlights that, 96% of women, they perceive real progress in gender equality when it is compared with only 30% women without strong male engagement. These are very important takeaway for us. You can see he for she, that is kind of another initiative. You can see the web link at the bottom. Please explore that for more information on this. So and so let's, as a concluding thing, let's, with that spirit, the ultimate goal for us would be that let's hope and work for a day we no longer need to celebrate Women's Day, because a real success would be to celebrate both women and men, or we men. I hope some of you can relate to this word from, back in the CEPT times, but, both have their own uniqueness and beautiful differences. And and still achieving that gender equality. So the same is not equal, and it is not about both being the same, but it is about both being equal. So what gender equality is really asking for today is the access to equal opportunities and equal rights to make those choices, which often require questioning our biases and norms, which becomes barriers and pose challenges for women. So let's accept and celebrate the differences and still achieve the equality. But we are still not there, and that's why let's have a quick look at our future events. So the idea for future events here is just food for thought, and again, it is not set in stone. Again, we'll have a quick poll question after this, where we would like to get a feedback from all of you on what should be the frequency for doing these events, whether it should be like once every 4 months. Also, we would like this initiative to go beyond just structured events. So like today's event is a structured event, but there are several ideas to bring alumni together for this important discourse. And there can be even unrecorded gatherings where women feel comfortable to openly talk about their experiences and share views. One of these such events could be like a first kickoff informal meeting, just to get to know everyone. Again, the intent here is to create a safe space, and there could be a mentor-mentee program like connecting dots. There could be a think tank, where we can bring about more awareness and understanding of gender equality. And all of these events and activities can be programmed in various formats like, open networking where one can share experiences, speed dating, panel discussion, inviting guest speakers. We can also have a TED talk, just as a theme icebreaker. So these are initial thoughts, and we definitely welcome your ideas and suggestions on this. So with that, we have a few poll questions, and then we can hand it over to Heman to explain, his philosophy behind this beautiful flyer that, absolutely captures the spirit of this whole event. So Timmy, would you please like to just launch the poll question? We have a third poll question.
Timmy, can you hang on one? Oh, there we go.
All right, so I just talked about like the future events, and you can please mark how frequently would you like to have events like this where we can bring out more stories and get to know our alumni better. All right, I think 10 more seconds we can have, and then Timmy, maybe you can close the poll and we can see the results. All right, let's all right, so 50% actually majority wants to have this event quarterly, like 4 times per year, and that is wonderful to hear. That shows that this has really touched everyone's heart. All right, thank you so much. And we have a poll question 4. Timmy, please go ahead. All right, so again, this is again for future, how this initiative do you think it should grow in the future? There could be beyond, having events like today's, there could be more, mentor-mentee program connecting women to women. There could be some regular group meetings, like, a lot of these lean-in circles, they meet like once a month on different topics. And those are just informal gatherings on some specific topic that they get together and they get to talk about their experiences and learn from each other. There could be more of events like today's, which is more structured events. And there could be, just professional networking among women. All right, I think 10 more seconds and we can close the poll. And again, this is a multiple choice question, so you can, choose more than one option. All right, so the majority is professional networking among women. That's good to hear, and establish a mentor-mentee program. So thank you so much for marking these answers. And we have just one last poll question, and Jimmy, that's a poll question 5. All right, so this is choose one, and the idea behind this question was that when we were actually structuring this event, we reached out to a lot of women to share stories by different, and a lot of women were kind of not comfortable sharing a story on a recorded session like today's. So we thought that it might also be helpful to have few events which are unrecorded, where they feel more comfortable to talk about things that they might not feel comfortable like today's setting. So we could also have more of those informal unrecorded events as well.
Sorry, I lost the poll somehow. Okay, right here.
No problem. All right. Okay, so the majority who wants recorded session, okay. But we also, 40 is pretty close. So we can definitely look into that. Thank you so much for, marking your answers. And so with that, I would like to thank everyone. And this was a great teamwork. And I would like to hand it over to Heman, who can, just kind of tell us, what really inspired you behind this logo. We know the inspiration, but please talk about it.
Heaven, before you get started, I just want to quickly interject here. The way we typically like to conclude these events is we sort of follow up with a social happy hour after this. And we've got a great, we know Param, but he's our chosen guy that he actually leads the social happy hours. He engages in great conversation. So invite you all to participate in the social hour that's led by Param. And it's a super fantastic time. He has this unique ability to get you guys to talk about different things while engaging you in a couple of drinks. So invite you all to stay back after Heman talks about his idea behind the logo and stuff. So Heman, all you.
Sorry, before you jump in, Heman, I just want to take a moment to say this wouldn't have happened if we didn't have our organizers to make this happen. So great kudos to all presenters and all organizers. Great job. We should be proud of back on our pad, and thank you, everyone that you see playing a role, everyone. And thanks for everyone to come and join. Thank you.
And I know, Priyanka, you have a question. We will get your question for sure.
Okay, guys, I won't take much time. I know everybody wants to talk and mingle, so just a couple minutes. About the event. This is such an incredible event. People say that it takes a village to raise a kid, but I after hearing all the stories, I must say that it takes such a powerful woman to raise the entire community. And we need more and more such amazing, powerful stories to influence our life. I'll take a couple minutes just to say you guys can go through what I've just quickly prepared. First of all, thank you everyone for all the organizers to give me this opportunity to work on this particular. I should not say logo because it's such an underrated word. It's a brand that I want to create, and with all your help. I must say, Forum, that's an amazing the concept note, I would say, from her perspective. And they've been talking about this for last 3 months, every Saturdays and Sundays and many more. So amazing work. For me, this was like any other project. This was a challenging project to start with, but when I got involved and understood the nuances of the project, it is one of the simplest project, or rather making a brand for me, because my source of inspiration is absolutely in-house. It's the powerful woman, not only behind the story, what she said, but the behind our own story. And Sharad, you guessed it right, man, and everybody. This is my biggest source of inspiration. And to be honest, I have one of her photo like that. Of course, not in this profile, but and that's what I'm trying to depict. That's why I'll never let her cut her hair also so short. She has to keep it like that. So Shalini, thank you so much for being in life. And this is one great source of inspiration. And I must say that, I'm fortunate to work with my own team at TWG, and I have more than 80% who are women, and they are another great source of inspiration with my day-to-day work life. So I just on the parting note, I must say that the different nuances of this form, which represents different things, and starting from what Ganju you said about the male-female brain, amazing. What Amit talked about, the babysitting part, it's such a cliche. The phone call, the accent part, which Rupangi talked about, and Subhi Vikas, your story. Just on the concluding part, I would say the form follows the function. I would say the form follows the movement, and that is the movement which I want to talk about, and which I'm trying to represent. It is free-flowing, powerful, bold, energetic, contextual, which is extremely important. What I learned something today out of all of you. And I also want to say that there should not be a Women's Day. I don't believe in that. Of course, it talks about that Women's Day, but let us make this new normal of every day and acknowledge with a powerful strength what has been given from then, that it is a new normal. that every day is a source of inspiration from them. And I'm the living example. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity that I could do a little bit. And I, as I said, I would love to take this brand to next level with all your help. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Hemant. That was wonderful.
Krishna, I'm School of Architecture, 95 batch, 94 batch actually. Sorry, I forgot my batch. But hi Ekta, I can see a lot of familiar faces. Chandni is there, so these are all people I knew growing up, I would say, and good to see again. I just want to say to all of you guys, it's really a really good forum to begin and to continue. This going back to what Priyanka mentioned as well, challenges of women in North America, Indian women who are in fields of design essentially in North America are very different and very diverse. And in addition to that, the challenges of being a woman in the first place and all the things that we discussed today, I think, and with COVID, there should not be a Women's Day. I believe there should be a Women's Year, a Women's Decade, maybe, in order to get us all back to, some sense of equality that we all want to kind of achieve in our work and in our lives. I would also like to say one thing, maybe ending this whole thing with a little bit of a controversial statement. Why is it that we talk about family only from her perspective? Can we talk about family and careers in a regular CEPT AA forum as well? Because I don't believe that it's just the women who are responsible for raising the right family, right? So with all the challenges and all these strong women that we heard from today, I feel we should let's have one from his perspective, and let's not talk about architecture or let's talk about life and how that kind of has affected men and their perspective and their idea about raising a family. So this is my little 2 cents. I think the moment we'll have from his perspective in this forum and everybody can talk about that, then there'll be some quality.
Rishma, you bring up a very good point. In fact, our original plan was to sort of transition into the questions where we wanted to invite men into this conversation today. But I think, because we also want to give people equal opportunity and chance to talk, share their stories and not cut them off, so we didn't get to that point. But that was really the idea today, to really transition to men and invite them in this conversation and ask them how can they do this? How are they doing this, right? So maybe we'll have to wait for the next one. But I think you bring up a great point, right? That's something that's very important.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, as Hemant explained the whole thought behind his vision and everything. So we have a great opportunity coming up, like we're gonna launch an online store where you'll be able to order the t-shirts and hoodies and sweatshirts. I did put the link in chat. I'm going to put it one more time, and it will be shipped out directly from the customized dependability is the brand. I mean, it's the place we are using. So they will be able to ship out all these apparels to you guys directly. So if you want to order it, you can order it, go ahead. That's what I would like to say.
Yeah. And just to be clear that we're not trying to make money off of this merchandise. We're just sort of doing this at cost. But the idea is really to get it to people, our CEPT folks, so they can wear something and feel like we can all connect, right? Wearing these t-shirts. So nobody's trying to even make a penny out of these, right?
Thank you, Ganju, for saying that. Yes.
I think when we are thanking people who have contributed to this, obviously the organizers and all the speakers, but Hemen, again, thank you for designing this logo, spending time in that. And Ekta, we must thank you as well. You took lead in, even throwing out this idea, then getting it done for all of us and sending us all these things so that we can wear today. So thank you. Really appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
Welcome. It was my pleasure, definitely.
And they all fit really well, by the way. At least for men, right? I cannot comment about women, but.
All right. So do we have anyone else who would like to share anything, or we can just conclude and kind of just stop recording the event?
I think Param is ready to take over. He's like he's our guy who can take over from this point and lead us through another the next phase.
Next phase. All right. So thank you all for joining in, and this was an awesome event. I mean, it was a lot of fun doing it and a lot of fun today with all of you. So we look forward to having more of these events in the future, and see you all in the next event of CEPTA. Happy International Women's Day to everyone.
To everyone.
And thank you for turning on your cameras. It's we don't expect it, but by doing that, we really are able to connect and see people's faces, right? And say, okay, now I know what Priyanka Seth looks like from the WhatsApp messages, right? If I see an R now, like, okay, I know who this person is now. So thanks for doing that.
Sure.
All right, so on to the happy hours.
All right, let's stop the recording now.
चलो यहाँ से हम जर्नी स्टार्ट करते हैं अपनी। अरे